This week we're approaching Palm Sunday in the church year, but because there's no Sunday between Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday, this is our only chance to focus on the events of Passion Week. So today our text will be the gospel reading for Passion Week, which is Mark chapter 14 and Mark chapter 15. Now, a broad overview of Mark 14 and 15 could be seen like this. There are different panels in the text, panels of preparation and panels of trial. So the text is bookended by two panels of preparation for the burial of Jesus. So at the beginning of our text in Mark 14, we have a story where in the home of Simon the leper in Bethany, where Jesus is, a woman comes there with an alabaster jar of costly ointment of nard, a type of ointment, and she breaks open the jar and she pours it out on Jesus's head. And of course, some of the people that are also there are disparaging her for her action. They see it as wasteful, that the money could have been put to better use. But Jesus says, let her alone. He says, she has given all that she has. She's done a good service for me. In fact, she has anointed my body beforehand for its burial. And wherever the good news is proclaimed throughout the world, what she has done will be remembered. Her story will be told in remembrance of her, along with my story. And then at the end of the text, at the end of chapter 15, we have a second panel of preparation for the burial of Jesus, in that after he has been crucified on Golgotha, or the place of the skull, a man named Joseph from the town of Arimathea goes courageously to Pontius Pilate, the Roman emperor at that time, who was responsible for killing Jesus. Joseph goes boldly to Pilate and asks for the body of Jesus so that he might give Jesus a proper and dignified burial. And he also gives what he has. He is a man of means, and he has his own rock-hewn tomb in which he lays the body of Jesus and rolls a stone in front of it. So these are the two panels of preparation for the burial of Jesus that bookend our text. Then there are two panels of preparation that can be seen as parallel. And the first one is a panel of preparation for the Passover meal that Jesus is in Jerusalem at that time celebrating with his disciples. And there's a part of the story where the disciples go and they prepare an upper room somewhere for Jesus to eat the Passover meal with them. And this is the same scene in which, of course, Jesus takes the bread and the cup and said, this is my body, this is my blood, which is poured out, which is given for many. And then from the scene in the upper room, we switch to the Mount of Olives, where Jesus gives some more teaching to the disciples. And so it's a scene of preparing to eat the Passover and then actually eating the Passover with his disciples. celebrating the Jewish festival of liberation from slavery, from bondage in Egypt. And then moving on into chapter 15, there's then a preparation for Jesus's crucifixion, which is kind of a new Passover, where Jesus himself becomes the sacrifice that takes away the sin of the world. And in this scene of preparation, in a tragic story, the Roman soldiers are torturing Jesus, and they are mocking him and spitting upon him, and they lead him out to be crucified on Golgotha, on the hill outside the city. So there are scenes of preparation for Jesus's burial at the beginning and the end. As you move a little bit farther into the text, there are scenes of preparation for the Passover and a scene of preparation for the crucifixion, and then the actual crucifixion itself. Now, right in the middle of the story, we have scenes of trial. And the scenes of trial focus on, in the outer parts of the middle section, they focus on a place called Gethsemane, where Jesus has taken Peter and James and John with him to go and pray. And the disciples are sleepy, and they can't stay awake with Jesus while he's praying. And when Jesus comes to them and finds them sleeping, he says to Peter, "Could you not stay awake with me? Pray that you do not come into the time of trial." And of course, later in our second panel of trial, we see that in fact Peter did come into the time of trial, because when he is in the courtyard of the high priest, after Jesus has been taken into trial in the court of the high priest, outside Peter is in the courtyard, and he is being put on trial by those standing around him who are asking questions of him, saying, "Aren't you one of those who was with Jesus?" And Peter, probably out of fear for losing his life along with Jesus, denies Jesus 3 times before the cock crows twice. And so Peter is put on trial, and he does not pass God's test. He denies God's representative on earth. He denies that he knows him. And Peter, back in Gethsemane, of course, could not stay awake that he might avoid the hour of trial. But in the middle of this trial of the disciples, with Peter as the representative of the disciples, is the trial of Jesus, where the high priest is questioning him. And that's where Jesus is asked the question, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One?" And Jesus says, "I am." He says, in other words, "I am," which is the divine name that God revealed to Moses in the story of the burning bush. When God appeared to Moses and said, "I am who I am, and the one that is sending you, Moses, to deliver the people from slavery, the one who is sending you, his name, my name, is I am." Here Jesus reveals himself as I am. But this one who was God in the flesh was denied by his closest associates. He was denied by Peter. He was betrayed by Judas, who is consistently referred to in the text as one of the 12, one of those closest to him who should have loved him the most in his time of trial. But if we go back to the outside panels of the story, what we've referred to here as the panels of preparation for Jesus's burial, we can see that even when the inner circle failed to tend properly to Jesus, God called other people to tend to Jesus. There was the woman with the ointment who tended to Jesus's body, and whose story then Jesus promised would be remembered along with his story. And at the end of the text, there is Joseph, who, for whatever failings he might have had earlier in life, courageously went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus that he might lovingly tend to it. So that even when the closest associates of Jesus, those whom he has called to be near him, fail, God calls others to be near him, whose stories will be remembered throughout the whole world wherever the good news is preached, because they tended to Jesus. Amen.